Single dad janitor yelled, "Don't get in the car." Seconds later, the CEO realized why. Marcus had been working as a janitor at Henderson Technologies for 3 years, always arriving before dawn to clean the executive floors before anyone else showed up. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of small moments to change lives, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness True Stories. Also, tell us in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? His hands were rough from years of scrubbing floors, and his uniform was faded, but his eyes held a kindness that most people never noticed, because they never really looked at him. He was invisible to most, just another face in the background of their busy corporate lives. Marcus didn't mind the invisibility, most days, because it meant he could focus on what mattered most. His 7-year-old daughter, Emma, who was waiting for him every evening with homework, questions and stories about her day at school. Being a single father wasn't easy, especially on a janitor's salary, but Marcus made it work through extra shifts and careful budgeting, always making sure Emma had what she needed, even if it meant he went without. On this particular Tuesday morning, Marcus was emptying trash bins in the executive parking garage when he noticed something unusual. A man crouched between 2 cars near the CEO's reserve spot, and the way the man moved set off alarm bells in Marcus's mind. He had grown up in rough neighborhoods and recognized danger when he saw it. The furtive glances, the tension in the shoulders, the way the stranger kept checking his watch. Marcus's first instinct was to walk away, because getting involved could mean trouble, and he couldn't afford to lose this job. Not when Emma depended on him for everything. But then he thought about what kind of example he'd be setting for his daughter. If he turned his back when someone might be in danger, he positioned himself behind a concrete pillar and watched as the stranger worked underneath the CEO's black Mercedes, his hands moving quickly with practiced efficiency, and Marcus's stomach dropped when he realized what was happening. CEO Richard Henderson was known for being tough but fair, and unlike other executives, he had always acknowledged Marcus with a nod or a brief good morning, treating him like a human being rather than part of the furniture. And that small gesture of respect over the years meant something. Marcus pulled out his old flip phone to call security, but there was no signal in the underground garage, and by the time he could run upstairs, it might be too late. His heart pounded as he saw the stranger finish whatever he was doing and slip away into the shadows, disappearing through the emergency exit, and moments later, Marcus heard the elevator ding, announcing someone's arrival. Richard Henderson stepped out, briefcase in hand, already on his phone discussing quarterly projections, walking with the confident stride of a man who had built an empire from nothing, completely unaware of the danger waiting beneath his car. Marcus didn't think, he just acted, running forward and shouting at the top of his lungs, "Mr. Henderson, don't get in the car." "Stop, please stop." Richard froze mid-step, confused and slightly annoyed at the interruption, looking at the janitor who was now standing between him and his vehicle, breathing hard and looking genuinely terrified. "Marcus, what's going on?" Richard asked, his tone shifting from irritation to concern when he saw the fear in the other man's eyes. "Someone was under your car, sir. I saw him. He was doing something underneath and then he ran. Please don't get in." "Something's wrong," Marcus said, his voice shaking but determined. Richard immediately pulled out his phone and called security, while backing away from the vehicle, and within minutes the garage was swarming with security personnel and police, who carefully inspected the Mercedes. What they found made everyone's blood run cold. An explosive device attached to the undercarriage, sophisticated enough that it would have detonated the moment Richard started the engine, and the bomb squad confirmed that without Marcus's warning, the CEO would have died instantly. The investigation revealed that a disgruntled former employee who had been fired for embezzlement had hired someone to carry out this revenge plot, and both men were arrested within 48 hours. Richard Henderson stood in that parking garage, staring at the man who had saved his life. A janitor he had barely known beyond polite greetings, someone who had risked everything to do the right thing when he could have easily walked away. "Marcus, I don't know how to thank you. "You saved my life," Richard said, his voice thick with emotion. And for the first time in years, this powerful CEO felt truly humbled. What happened next changed both their lives forever because Richard didn't just offer a reward, he offered Marcus a real opportunity. A management position in facilities with a salary that would let him give Emma the life she deserved. Complete benefits and a college fund set up in her name. Marcus tried to refuse, saying he was just a janitor without a college degree, but Richard insisted, explaining that character and courage were worth more than any diploma, and that the company needed more people with Marcus's integrity in leadership positions. The story spread throughout Henderson Technologies and then to the media, becoming a viral sensation about heroism in unexpected places. But for Marcus, the real reward was watching Emma's face light up when he told her they were moving to a better apartment in a safer neighborhood with good schools. Richard and Marcus became unlikely friends, with the CEO often joining them for Saturday morning pancakes, learning that true wealth wasn't measured in stock options, but in the love of family, and the courage to do right when no one's watching. Years later, when Emma graduated top of her class with a full scholarship to engineering school, both Marcus and Richard sat in the audience with tears in their eyes, knowing that one moment of courage, in a parking garage, had changed the trajectory of multiple lives. The janitor who had been invisible became a symbol of everyday heroism, and the CEO who had been saved learned that the people you overlook might be the ones who matter most. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe to Kindness True Stories for more inspiring tales that remind us of the power of compassion and courage in our everyday lives.